Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this video. This is the first video I'm making in Explain 10. So what we'll be doing in this video is outlining the left-hand circuit traffic pattern around an airport, in this case around Seattle-Tacoma International, right next to Boeing Field, where all Boeing aircraft are tested. And we're currently in a Boeing 747-400 series, United in this case. So we'll just get set up for takeoff. Set flaps to 10 for takeoff. This will both decrease our stall speed, decrease our rotation speed, and also increase the amount of lift when we take off. We're currently on runway 34 center, true heading of 341 degrees. So we'll try and maintain that heading until we reach 1,000 feet above the airfield, which will be an altitude of 1,300 feet. Then we'll begin our turn onto the downwind leg, which is the leg that's parallel to the runway, but in the opposite direction we've taken off from. So that'll be heading 161 degrees.
Contact tower on 119.9
Then
November,
when we pass the runway threshold and it is 45 degrees behind us, we'll begin our turn onto the crosswind leg. The base leg, and then we'll turn on to final when we've got the runway in sight visually. We'll begin our descent from 2,000 feet when we're approximately halfway down the downwind leg. That's a good point to begin, and we'll also set up for landing at that point. Right, so we're all ready to go. Parking brakes are released now. Roll the thrust forward to 50% to make sure everything's working okay. That's all fine. Flaps set for takeoff, and we're ready to go. So we'll increase to a takeoff thrust of 90% N1. So V1 will make 150 knots, rotate 160, and V2 170, 80 knots now. So V1 is the speed at which we can safely stop the takeoff. After that speed we must take off, as we're permitted. Okay, V1's coming up. V1. Rotate. Back on the stick. V2. We've got a positive rate of climb, so put the landing gear up. And again, we're maintaining the runway center line. And coming up to 1,000 feet. So begin our turn onto the crosswind leg, and we'll raise the flaps. We'll maintain 200 knots, coming up to 2,000 feet, so level off. After takeoff checklist, flaps and gear are both up. And we are now level at 2,000 feet, cruising at 200 knots, which is just what we want. After takeoff checklist complete. And we're coming up to 160 knots, so we'll begin leveling out. So one very key thing when flying visually is, if you're familiar with the area, try and use local landmarks or natural features to locate yourself within the traffic pattern. That can often be very handy and make it much easier to fly the circuit. Okay, so we're now on the downwind leg, established. So we'll just take a look out to the left-hand side. Got the airfield in sight, coming up to in line with the threshold. So we'll carry on flying for about 30 seconds to 1 more minute. And we'll begin configuring the aircraft for descent and landing. So we'll begin our descent, and we'll slow to 180 knots. Lower flaps 10. That's 3 notches of flaps. And we'll put the landing gear down. Quick check outside. And we're coming up to 45 degrees from the airport. So we'll begin our turn onto base leg. Landing gear down. Gears down. Okay, and coming into line with the runway. Got the runway in sight. Lower speed now to final approach speed. 150 knots. We're a bit low, so we'll decrease our rate of descent. Thrust to maintain speed. Set full flaps. Pitch down so we don't get a dramatic increase in lift. In line with the runway. Coming back onto the correct glide path. Okay, we're now in line. Decrease. Lower still. Okay, coming up to the threshold. It's 50 feet, thrust off. And begin our flare. And safely touch down. Nose gear is down. And manually braking. Maintain runway center line. Speed decreasing. And we can just make this taxiway. Cease braking. We'll go past this holding bar and stop at taxiway hotel. Okay, we'll raise the flaps. Flaps coming up. Okay, so once the flaps are up, we'll just go to the external view and do a replay of the landing and approach. And the flaps are fully retracted just about now. Almost. Yep, they're fully up now. Okay, so Do a video of the takeoff roll. This is from the view of tower. So as you can see, slowly easing back on the stick. Very light amount of pressure required. Don't want to snap the nose up too fast. Retracted the landing gear when we were getting a good rate of climb. And we changed our attitude as required when there was an increase or decrease in airspeed. Okay. Now to the landing. So as you can see, nice stable level wings. We're all prepared for the landing, well planned. We knew exactly what we were going to do. We knew our approach speeds beforehand, so we didn't have to think about it when landing, which takes the pressure off as you come in for the approach and landing. And we're going to begin our flare just now. Very small angle you need to increase the attitude by when flaring a big aircraft like this, only a couple of degrees. So that was a nice clean touchdown. Slowly bring the nose wheel down, as we did. We'll do a view from the runway now. Well, not the correct runway, but the windsock was down, so winds were calm, so it didn't matter which runway we landed on. We just chose the runway we took off from. And there we have it. That's how to do an approach and a circuit around an airport. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you very much.